begun with another search as part of their investigation into the death of a mom in Quincy. They were at a property in Adams County today, and one of the co-owners, her estranged husband, who was accused of killing her. And WGEM's Dylan Smith is live at Timber Ridge Mobile Home Park with more on what he saw. Dylan.
Well, McKinsey Police Chief Adam Yates confirmed that indeed the search here this afternoon and earlier this morning was in connection with last month's shooting death of Rebecca Bliefnick. Now, this property here that I'm standing on is owned by TBRK Properties LLC, which is co-owned by Rebecca's estranged husband, Timothy Bliefnick, who stands charged with first-degree murder. Now, if you look behind me, you can't really tell, but behind this tree line, there is a lagoon, and that is where I saw investigators concentrating their efforts this afternoon. Now, Deputy Chief Michael Tyler wouldn't confirm what specific evidence they were searching for, but this is the third known location to be searched in this investigation. Of course, that includes Bliefnick's home in Quincy, and of course, the residence in the 2500 block of Kentucky Road, where Rebecca Bliefnick was found dead.
In these type of cases, you want to get as much evidence as you can. And it continues all the way until the trial. So, you know, they'll be conducting as much pieces of evidence as they can, or trying to locate it. So.
And Bliefnick is due back in court late next week. So, McKinsey, we do, of course, hope to learn more at that time. Live in Adams County, Dylan Smith, WGEM News.
Okay, thank you so much, Dylan. And Bliefnick was arrested on Monday. He is in the Adams County Jail being held without bond.
Timmy, talk to 100 married people. What's the biggest mistake you made at your wedding?
Honey, I love you, but said I do. Not my mistake. Not my mistake. I love my wife. I'm going to get in trouble for that, aren't I? Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. My name is Adam Yates. I'm the Chief of Police for the Quincy Police Department. On February 23rd, Rebecca Bliefnick, a 41-year-old mother of three, was found shot to death in her home in the 2500 block of Kentucky Road. Since that day, detectives with the Quincy Police Department have been working nonstop, gathering information, collecting evidence, and piecing together the events that led to Miss Bliefnick's death 2 weeks ago. I asked our community for patience as we worked through this investigation. Today, I have an update. At 8:24 this morning, Quincy Police Department detectives and members of the department's emergency response team arrested 39-year-old Timothy W. Bliefnick of Quincy for a no-bond warrant for 2 counts of first-degree murder and home invasion for the murder of Rebecca Bliefnick. Mr. Bliefnick was located at a residence in the 2500 block of Kentucky Road and was taken into custody without incident. Mr. Bliefnick was transported to the Adams County Jail, where he is currently lodged. I want to remind everyone that in our criminal justice system, individuals are presumed to be innocent until proven guilty. A great deal of work went into getting to this point in the investigation. I want to thank Adams County State's Attorney Gary Farhall for the support his office has provided. Since the discovery of Ms. Bliefnick's body on February 23rd, lead trial attorney Josh Jones and Assistant State's Attorney Laura Keck have been working alongside our investigators, which is critical during complex investigations. I want to also thank Adams County Sheriff Tony Gertens and his deputies, as well as the Illinois State Police investigators and forensic scientists who have provided their support, personnel, resources, and expertise over the last 19 days. More than anything, I want to commend the Quincy Police Department Investigative Division under the command of Lieutenant Kathy Schisler, Sergeant Brian Dush, and Sergeant James Brown for the extraordinary work they have done over the last 2+ weeks. Our detectives and detective supervisors have worked long hours, weekends, and off days putting the pieces of this investigation together. There is much work yet to be done and the investigation continues, but today's development is a significant step forward in the search for justice for Rebecca. I'm very proud of the men and women of the Quincy Police Department. Also, it is important to acknowledge that the assistance and cooperation of the public was key to moving this investigation forward. This brutal crime has had the Quincy community on edge and our residents living in fear. I hope today's announcement can begin to calm some of those concerns. That said, it is good to remember to not become complacent. Make sure you lock your doors. Turn on exterior lights. Be aware of your surroundings and report suspicious activity to the police. These are things we should always do. We must look out for one another and work together to make Quincy as safe as possible. To Ms. Bliefnick's family, nothing we can do as a police department will ever bring Rebecca back to you and her 3 boys. All we can do is use our tools, talents, and every available resource to bring you justice. Our thoughts and prayers remain with you. As I said, this is an ongoing investigation. Though an arrest has been made, we must remain guarded as to what information is released. As this case moves through the various court proceedings, more information will become available. For now, please forgive my refusal to provide specific details, including those that led to today's arrest. At this point, I would like to turn it over to Adams County State's Attorney Gary Farhall for remarks.
Thank you, Chief Yates, and thank you guys for appearing here. I want to commend the performance of the men and women of the Quincy Police Department who have made extraordinary efforts in bringing about the charges that have been leveled today. I also want to thank my staff, starting with my first assistant, Todd Eiler, my lead trial attorney, Josh Jones, Laura Keck, an assistant state's attorney, and all my staff who have covered for their responsibilities while they worked tirelessly on this case. Josh Jones has prepared a statement, and I'm going to let him come and do that now. Thank you again.
My name is Josh Jones. I'm lead trial attorney for the State's Attorney's Office. This is Miss Laura Keck, our domestic violence prosecutor and my trial partner in this case. We would like to thank the Quincy Police Department and their officers for their tireless determination and dedication in reaching this stage into the investigation of the murder of Rebecca Bliefnick by her estranged husband, Tim Bliefnick. While this is an important step and an important stage of the investigation, it's important to remember it is just that, a first step. At this point, the defendant is presumed innocent of the charges. Our office will continue to work hand in hand with the detectives as the investigation continues into this heinous and premeditated act that the defendant is alleged to have committed. Our Quincy community should rest assured that this horrific crime was not a random act of violence. However, it is equally as important to recognize the event for what it is, an act of domestic violence. Domestic violence takes many forms, and regardless of whether a victim suffers from emotional abuse, physical abuse, or what our community is confronting today, every victim of domestic violence must be treated with the urgency, the respect, and the compassion that he or she deserves. Every victim of domestic violence deserves to be seen, to be heard, and to be believed. The State's Attorney's Office of Adams County and its prosecutors and staff are dedicated to the pursuit of justice for every victim. While our thoughts and prayers are with Rebecca Bliefnick's family and her children, our focus and our efforts remain on bringing her murderer to justice. Thank you.
At this point, we'll open it up to any questions.
Are any other arrests likely at this time?
Not at this time.
A question for Josh. When will Mr. Bliefnick be in court?
I believe he'll be in court tomorrow at 1:30 in courtroom 1A is our current plan.
1:30, you said?
1:30.
Okay. At this time, on the amount of bond you're asking, that's been set or you're asking for?
Our office has filed a motion to hold the defendant without bond. That motion will have to be heard by a judge at some point in the future.
Talk about how confident you are in the evidence that you've gathered.
Well, you need to establish probable cause in order to make an arrest. So at that point, or at this point in the investigation, that we believe that hurdle has been reached. We obtained an arrest warrant for Mr. Bliefnick's arrest that was signed by a judge, so evidence was presented, and obviously in coordination with the Adams County State's Attorney's Office. That's where we're at in this investigation, so we're to that point. Like I said, there's a lot of work that's still going to need to be done. There's still evidence that we're waiting for reports on from the State Crime Lab, so our detectives will continue to diligently work to put more pieces together and to continue to work on this case, but at this point, that's where we're at in the investigation.
At what point was Timothy Bliefnick considered a suspect?
And in any homicide investigation, you have to keep every option open. You have to make sure you don't get tunnel vision. Our detectives are experienced in working these types of investigations, and we've learned long ago that tunnel vision can be detrimental in this type of investigation. So from the very beginning, any type of homicide that, has to do with, the family members are always looked at, neighbors are looked at, any random reports of violence throughout the community are looked at. So, I think it was pretty much, as far as our investigation, everybody was considered a suspect from the very beginning. And this is exactly where the evidence has led us up to this point, and that's how we got here.
You said Mr. Bliefnick was cooperative when he was brought in this morning?
That's correct. Yeah, he was taken into custody without incident.
How cooperative was he throughout the whole process?
I'm not going to comment on it at this point. Any other questions?
Do we know about the care of the 3 children?
I'm going to ask Sergeant Brown, who is our youth detective supervisor, to come up and address that question.
Thank you and good morning. I want to point out that the concern for their children is something that we've had in the back of our mind as a priority during this whole time. The incident was hotlined to DCFS. There is currently a DCFS agent making contact with the children, with one of the QPD investigators. It'll be up to DCFS to start working on kind of what happens from here with the kids, since Mr. Bliefnick does have no bond, at least for tonight. So DCFS and one of the QPD detectives are currently with the children, made contact with the children at St. Peter's School this morning, shortly after Tim's arrest. And so it's kind of in the hands of DCFS at this point. Anything else?
Okay, if there's no other questions, again, we appreciate everyone coming out this morning, helping us spread the word on this investigation. Again, I want to thank the Quincy Police Department Detective Division, all the men and women of the Quincy Police Department who've worked on this investigation since it began, State's Attorney's Office, for all their support, tremendous support through this entire investigation, and we'll look forward to moving forward. So, thank you very much.